Last time on Just Create, we kidnapped 100 bees, hung out in an air vent to construct 2 more holes of our golf course, and asked for your thoughts on the cardboard sword mod Foxy made that introduces lighter putters. That video's not gone out yet though, so we don't have a verdict on that just yet, so I'll come back to that in a future video. Today, we're going to expand this golf course with more holes, finally breaking into the warehouse part of the course. So with that in mind, the first thing I'm going to need is a great big room, I guess. And for that, we're going to need to decide what we want to build the room out of. And I think I've got an idea, but I'm going to need a whole lot more terracotta. And probably a whole bunch of dye for that terracotta as well. So let's grab that. Let's go grab some terracotta and figure out what colours we want. Now, with the terracotta, we've got a few boxes. We've got some that's already coloured, but we've got lots that's not. And to be honest, I think I want this to be white. So I'm going to stick lots and lots in there. Then I'm going to need 27 diamonds to do all of that. This dye place is not cheap, but that's going to take forever. So while we're waiting, I want to get a bunch more cyan as well, which is this one here. Put those in there. That's going to be 7 diamonds. Then I also want some green and lime green. Although having just set all of that up, it might have actually been cheaper just to buy the dye and dye them directly. So I think you can dye 8 stacks of terracotta with just 1 stack of dye, and a stack of dye downstairs would only cost me 4 diamonds, not the 8 diamonds it's costing me up here to get the same thing. Probably would have been quicker as well, but I don't think I can... Why is that stopped? These ones are still going, taking all my diamonds, but it's only done 1 stack. What? This one's working fine. I've been robbed. Time to investigate. So it's definitely registered my diamonds. So I put in 27. Let's try that again, but let's only put 2 in this time. It comes on, but it's already swallowed up both my diamonds. Whereas these ones are counting through 1 at a time as I'm using them. So yeah, the white one's obviously just a bit broken. Managed to get my terracotta back. We've got our diamonds back. We'll just buy some dye in the speakeasy and do that manually, which I guess we have just worked out is cheaper anyway, so it's not the end of the world. But I'll let Eggs know that his white washing machine is a thief, but at least these ones seem to work. And in fact, instead of buying white dye at the speakeasy, it might be even better if I just come down here. What I'm thinking is I can just buy a whole bunch of bone blocks, and I'm going to get much more dye for my money. Plus, I need bone blocks anyway. So let's turn those into bone meal. We'll make some white dye, and we'll get our white terracotta this way. So I've made a start with the warehouse room. We've got the white terracotta at the top, a lovely red band and some cyan terracotta. But you may notice I've not put walls on these 2 sides, and that's because I don't really know how big I want this room to be yet. First thing I need to do is figure out a way for people to get from here down to where they need to be. I think I've got an idea of how we can do that. That is to use this andesite scaffolding to make a little walkway. And we'll just put on a nice little fence. And maybe around here, we'll put in a ladder. Just a basic andesite ladder should do. Perfect. And we'll put a little ladder in there as well, just in case you need to get back up here for some reason. Now, let's design this next hole. And if this is going to be a big warehouse, we're probably going to have a whole lot of shipping containers, lots of boxes, cardboard boxes, and just stacks of other stuff. And that's what we'll use to sort of mark out the course. But I also do like the idea of maybe having like some garage doors here that just sort of suggest that this is where the outside would be. So yeah, we'll put some garage doors there. Now let's go grab some pillar blocks and start marking out where things can go. But currently, we don't have many on us. I'm probably going to want some Viridium, Azurine, Crimsite, Ochrum, and all these fancy things as well. So I guess we're going to go on a trip to our warehouse and see what we've got over there. I mean, it's not awful. We've got some pillar blocks, but we're definitely going to need more than this. Well, we've got plenty of Ochrum and Viridium, but we could really do with more Crimsite and Azurine. So we're going to grab our drill. We're also going to make a bunch of torches, and I guess it's time for a mining montage. And we all know what that means. Oh, my inventory's full. No. Ah! Unbelievable. Well, I guess I'll just grab all the leftovers from the floor and cry about my drill later. But apparently there was a lot of Azurine here. Jeez. Well, I guess we're just going to have to make do with what we've got now. I'm not making another drill today. I cannot be bothered. But I do need to get much better at looking after my drills. Can't believe that creeper. I will have vengeance. But the good news is we did get plenty of Azurine. And we do have a little bit of Crimsite, although I have left all that over at the warehouse. Let's go grab it. And the rest of the pillar blocks we want to make are just out of things like diorite and granite and, well, we've got plenty of that. But I am very sad we lost another drill. Okay, so despite the slight incident, we should hopefully have enough stuff to sort out a warehouse now. So let's get to planning hole 4. Now let's start over here by getting the garage doors in. And I think these scorcher pillars are going to look pretty good for this. So maybe we should turn them that way round. Yeah, much better. Now for this room, I do want to divide it up so we can have more than one hole in here. So if we say we're going to be shooting that way for this first hole, let's maybe get some containers in over here just to split up the room. Let's maybe have one there. I quite like the idea of potentially having a pass through to the other hole here as well. In fact, let's maybe put that a bit further down. But now, more crates. That's sending things this way. I think it'd be quite nice if it opened out a little bit around here. Let's maybe put another crate here. I think I want to put one in here that we're going to put at an angle. Let's go grab some super glue and mechanical bearings if we've got any in here. Oh, we've got loads. I think I want to put this white one and the yellow one both at angles. We'll start with the white one. Only place when destroyed. And we want to turn this one in that direction. Not by a lot, but just enough to create an angle there. Yep, that'll do. If we put the yellow one like that, then it creates a small gap you can shoot for here. But we'll also have a route round this way, and then we'll have the hole over here somewhere, I think. That should work nicely. That means this room's definitely going to be longer. That's why I didn't build a back wall. I think something else I might want to do is have, like, a forklift kind of crash through the wall or something just to create an obstacle here. I think that could be a lot of fun. So just a bit of broken wall like that. We'll mess this up a bit more with some more copycat panels. To be honest, if a forklift's coming through, it probably needs to be a little bit bigger as well. So I guess we need to go get a forklift. Let's get a schematic. I also need a feather, so I guess these chickens are going to have a bad time. Sorry. Then we can make schematic and quill. Ooh, we got some cooked chicken as well. Don't mind if I do. And we can just take a schematic of this forklift over here. Call that temp forklift. Then we'll grab an empty schematic. Make a copy of that. Let's have a quick look, see how this is going to look over here. So we probably want it something like that, and we are going to tilt it and make it actually look crashed. But if the hole starts here, that should create quite a nice little barrier. And if we do this right, we might be able to have it so that the balls can be chipped directly over it, which is probably not a bad idea. But anyway, let's see what we need to get this built. So I imagine we're going to be missing a bunch of stuff. Tell you what, we're not missing too much. I can probably make a bunch of that here. Well, we're still missing a few bits, but we'll just go grab them from the warehouse, blast this into existence, and then we'll work out how to make it look crashed. Look at that. It looks like we've got everything in stock. That was 5 rail, 2 shroom lights, train controls, placard, factory gauge, and mushroom blocks. Excellent. Let's run the checklist one more time. We are good to go. And while that's doing that, we're going to grab ourselves another mechanical bearing, another valve, and some super glue. Now, the first thing we're going to do is remove all of this, because I just want it to be an empty forklift. Oh, looks like I had it set to don't replace solid blocks, so it's kind of missed the back here a little bit. But that's okay, the back's not important anyway, that's all going to be blocked off. So let's get it glued together. Okay, I think I've got it all. Guess there's only one way to find out. Let's stick that on there. Set it to when anchor destroyed, as always. Set this to just a few degrees. We have it maybe like that. I mean, dig out some of the floor as well, as if it's just smashed up the floor. That should create quite a nice hazard. Let's just raise it by 1 notch. Oh, this forklift has made a right old mess. So I think for a concept, that works quite well. You should just still be able to chip a ball over it. If the ball lands on it, you should be able to get on and take a shot. We've just got to fit it all in over here now. So how are we going to make this look good? Let's go grab some stuff and have a little play about. And a short while later, I think we're just about done. I've just sort of blackened out the back edge of this. Although I should probably cover that mechanical bit there as well. But I think this works pretty well. And then down here, we've actually got liquid black dye. Because what that will do is catch the boxes, push them this way. And if we look underneath, we'll just hop into free cam. We have some collection chutes and some fire. So if anyone falls in this hole, their box or ball is going to get destroyed. Though currently, if a player falls in there, there's no way out. I should probably add a ladder somewhere. Let's quickly do that before I forget. I guess we should probably put the ladder here. Oh, maybe not on that bottom bit. Cool, that works. Right, I want to start getting some ice in here. And once again, we're going to leave an edge next to these walls just so the balls don't slide straight into them. I'm hoping it will give just a little bit of leeway on the shots. So that's the hole so far. I just need to work out where I want to put the finish. And I think I want to have it sort of hidden around the back of this. So I guess we only need to extend the warehouse a little bit further to make this work. So I'm going to get this wall here built up, and then we'll figure out where to put the remaining bits of scenery and clutter and things like that. But I'm really pleased with how this is coming out so far, although we definitely need some lighting. We're currently in cheaty night vision mode at the moment, so it looks fine, but it's really not. Well, the wall's up. I've added a couple of extra shipping crates, which I think helps. But I do want to add something in this corner. I think I've had enough of the shipping crates for now. I've got an idea. How about we just have a big old pile of pumps? These are one of the components for the Megabots after all, so this does make sense. That's what I'm telling myself. So maybe we can have like a full pallet, and then we can have a pile of just some loose ones. Maybe with some trapdoors, we can make this look like a sealed pallet. Yeah, I think that just mixes it up a little bit. Let's maybe have another container over here, just to build that side up a little bit more. Okay, this is looking pretty good. All I need to do now is sort out some lighting, cover the floor, and of course put in the whole collection and ball dispenser. And we could definitely do with decorating the walls and making them look nicer as well. Thinking about it, we could really do with the ceiling as well. Short while later, we're making good progress. We've got our floor in, that's looking pretty good. Got our ceiling in, we've got some lights, and I even put a great big hole in the ceiling just to make this place look a little bit more trashed. But I have just had an idea, and I'm wondering if I do this and select, say, nope, that one's too big. Maybe this one? Nope, this one. There we go, that looks good. Yeah, then we can actually assign these shipping crates to some of the companies in the shopping district. This is cool. So what other ones could we do? Maybe Beardy Power Co. So I've just made this look a little bit more worn in Photoshop. Let's maybe do that. Yeah, this looks so cool. I don't really want to put them on the lower levels though, because if you hit these with a stick, they are going to pop off the walls. So that's not ideal. But as a general little design thing, it looks pretty good. No one's going to be swinging around this bit. Maybe I can see if someone else has got a sign we can use. Sadly, there's nothing that's a usable size and also a PNG from the others. Oh well, still a nice touch. So I've still got to hook up the mechanics for the hole, and I still need to do something about these walls. They're very, very plain and boring. Let's see what we can do about that. So texture-wise, I'm going to try putting in some darker patches using oak and birch. Stripped, of course, otherwise that would just look weird. But I think this could work quite nicely. Yeah, that's not looking too bad. I've added some around this hole in the wall as well, which I think is looking pretty good. Oh yes, it also works pretty well under the air vents. And up in the corner here, I've also added some pale oak leaves in some boards, and I think that helps. Let's maybe get a few of these up here as well. What I think we really need, though, is another big bit of graffiti. How about this? Join the Rovolution today. Actually works pretty well up there, especially above the forklift. Makes it look like it was done intentionally. What I think we also need to do is stick some stuff to the walls. Things like fans and links and pipes and all that sort of jazz. Now, let's start off with a bunch of fans over here. Do the old angled shoot trick because that looks pretty good. Then we'll have a shaft coming out the top of that for no apparent reason with a lever. And we'll also connect that up to a bunch of furnaces over here because why not? It might look like some kind of weird venti type thing. Not a bad start, but we need more. To be honest, I should probably put a little bit of the textury bits underneath these as well. Now, I'm trying to be careful not to overdo it. We don't want to have too much on the walls. Maybe I'll save the pipes for the other side, because I think this is actually looking pretty good so far. So I think we're going to leave it at that for now. I'm just going to sort out the mechanics for the hole, and then that'll be hole 4 complete. Although adding a giant crack to the wall does look pretty good. Right, let's stop getting distracted and finish off this hole. And there we go. Oh, I made a mistake. I realized I needed to put redstone in and I broke a belt before actually turning it off. So, yeah, boxes everywhere. Right, there we go. That's better. Now we can just cover that up, put the redstone in. In fact, we should probably put the redstone in first. And now, there we go. We have our next hole. Let's just destroy all these extra ones. Right, that is hole 4 complete. And it looks awesome. Now onto hole 5, which is going to start around here somewhere and go off in this direction. And then we can probably snake another one back in in that way, I reckon. Now for hole 5, the first thing I want to do is work out where the other warehouse wall's going to be, and I'm thinking maybe about here, and then that's going to leave us plenty of space over on this side to actually make another tunnel. Tunnel? That's not what I meant. We're going to make another hole, but it's going to be on the other side of a wall from this one. So if we were to block in most of it and then maybe have an entrance here, that will take us through to the next hole. We could do like an open garage door or something there, I reckon, but we'll worry about that later. For now, let's get this wall built up and figure out what we're going to do for this hole. Now, let me think. If we were to put in maybe like a shipping container here, you could have the hole over here somewhere, and then the normal route would be to go around this way, but if you wanted to risk going this way, then the payoff is that you get a better line to the hole. But what's the risk? I mean, we could just knock out a big hole in the floor. They could be quite risky, I suppose. Maybe a couple more shipping crates. So I'd quite like this one here to be angled, so what we could probably do is hide a mechanical bearing down there. To make that work, we're going to need to make sure we glue everything apart from that central column there. That should do it. And we put the bearing in there. Probably actually make sure that's set correctly. Valve on top, and then we can slightly rotate it. That's probably all it needs, to be honest, just to make it a bit more interesting around here. But I reckon that'll work quite nicely. We'll get some more boxes and things like that in, get some detail in, turn the floor into ice, of course. But yeah, this should work. A nice relaxing hole number 5. Unless you go this way, which won't be very relaxing at all, no doubt. That's the ice in. I've added a few honey patches as well, just to make things a little bit more interesting. We've got our lighting down, so we just need to cover this floor and sort out this hole here. There we go. That's looking better. We've got a leaky pipe to explain why it's all honey sticky down there, but the rest is just not really explained. But I have tried to hint at where it is with some tuff, though some areas don't have honey but still have tuff. So yeah, you can't rely just on that. I need to get some more black dye to put in that hole, as well as a little destruction system for the balls. And of course, I need to make the walls look good. Let's do a mini little time lapse and get this hole finished. Oh yes, this place is looking awesome. It's taken me nearly all day, but I think it was definitely worth it. This room is looking very cool. We've got lots of details on. We've got more chants and things written on the walls. The robots really aren't happy. Got some pipes in on this side. Lots of boxes and clutter and things like that. I just need to put a sign and a button here, but it is all linked up underneath as well, so the boxes are being delivered. And then we have this garage exit over here, which will go on to hole number 6. Have we done 5 holes now? I think we've done 5 holes now, haven't we? But we're going to introduce a new hazard or two on this particular hole. First things first, though, I need to expand this warehouse a bit. And I think something about that size and about that tall is going to work. I don't want it to be the same height as the warehouse. That's way too tall for a corridor this thin. Let's get a roof on this thing, and then we'll start designing the hole. The roof is now on, and apologies if you can hear a buzzing in the background. I've got the aircon on because it's ridiculously hot today. But anyway, let's talk about hazards. So, what I want to do for this one is potentially add like a little trick shot. So a particular shot that's not easy to make, but if you do, you get a hole in one because, well, I think it's about time we had a hole in one. It's not really possible on any of them so far. So let's make ourselves a little hole so we can access our storage van and grab some bits and bobs. Now let's just mark out where the start's going to be. Let's maybe offset the starting point a little bit. And what I want to do is have an easier shot. So we'll put in maybe a vault here. You'll see why in just a moment. And then I want to have a harder shot, which is going to need another vault. In fact, this one here, I think I'm going to make it a small vault. Going to have an input andesite funnel there and an output one there. So if you hit your box into that, it's going to instantly come out on this side, and I'll show you what we're doing with that in a moment. But this one here, I want this one to be the trick shot. So we're going to make things quite difficult. We'll start off by raising the funnel off the ground, but we're also going to have a pit of doom in front of it. So if you do miss the shot, it will destroy your ball. So that's the pit of doom, but it's probably still not quite hard enough yet. So what we're also going to do is add some fans on this side, give them a grate over the front, and now let's give them some power. And if we just do that, then the nearest spot of power is probably down here. Yep, and we'll just bring that over and see which way the fans are going. We want them to be pulling, ideally. Yes, excellent. I want to make sure they're definitely traveling at max speed though, so we're just going to add in a speed controller. Ow! Stop it. Let's just stick that in there. Adjust this slightly, let that to max speed, add in a large cog, and do that. Just make sure the direction's correct. But now we know they are definitely pulling with the maximum amount of force, which should make this shot quite difficult. And if it's too difficult, we can just adjust the speed of the fans, but I think that should be okay. They look awful though, so let's go grab some boards and some pillar blocks. I reckon we can still make them look like shipping containers. So if we do this... Yeah, look at that. It's like a tiny little shipping container. And we'll do this one in red. Can't do this bit here next to the fans, though, but I reckon we can get away with that. Yeah, that's good enough. But it might look a bit better if we did that one as well. Then on this side, we're going to need an exit, but we can cover up the rest. All right, looking good. Now, the question is, have I done that too far away from here to actually be able to make the shot? Let's do a quick test. If the parcel was to come out there... Oh, okay, I almost did it on the first shot. Let's give it another go, see if it's actually doable. I reckon I need to go a little bit more to the left. Yeah. Okay, cool. So it is doable. That's good. We'll also put in a few other obstacles and bits around here. I mean, we could even expand that hole there over to this side a little bit. In fact, I might just do that. Yeah, that works well. Then we can break up the bottom of this wall a little bit here. Just get these bits combined. Now, I'm going to need more liquid black dye to finish that off. So we're going to take our buckets back to our starter workshop because that's where I've been making it. So if we mix dye and water over here, we get black dye, or liquid black dye, I should say. We only had enough left for 2 buckets. Hopefully that's going to be enough. Although we are going to need more for the other parts as well. So maybe I just need to grab myself a little bit more coal. But luckily, it's all over the floor down here. And if we grind down that coal, that will give us black dye. And we'll chuck that in here and get more liquid black dye. But I've only got 3 buckets on me, so I guess 3 buckets is going to have to do for now. So let's get rid of these bits. What I want to know is, can we make everything push into the corner where there's already a tube? So I think apart from maybe needing another bucket over here, that could work. Yep, now I think no matter where you go, it's always going to push into this corner. Excellent. Let's just add a couple of bars, and then we'll stick some copycat bits in here just to break up the wall a little bit. Maybe on that side too. Right, I think that works pretty well as a hazard. Let's just sort out this one as well. So we want some bars. We want a hole where everything's going to get pushed into. And then we're going to need more black dye. I need to buy myself some chutes from Chosen's Mall because I've run out. But then that should be that side of the hole finished. Right, so we're going to set a fire down there. Pick a chute in the top. And then try and get everything pouring in the same direction. Right, does that work? Oh, I think we need another bucket here. And maybe another one here, actually. Okay, fine. More black dye. So that was one there and one there. Right, there we go. I think we've got it all now, but I might just need to double up on the fire. So if we just do that, then remove all these, we should be good. Right. Let's put an exit ladder on in case people fall in. And to be honest, I need to put one over here as well. But besides the ice floor and some proper lighting, I think that's this side done. Now, once it gets over here, this is where I want things to get a little bit more interesting. So we're going to have the hole maybe like here. And then we want to have a weighted ejector plate that goes over to here from under this one. So that's your hole-in-one shot, basically. This guy, however, not so lucky. So we just want that one to plop around about there. I need to get rid of that and that bit there. Or maybe not, actually, because I need to sink that into the ground anyway. And what we're going to do is just make a little bit of a gap around the edge here because we want to make sure the packages definitely fall on the weighted ejector. And to ensure it doesn't get caught on any lips or edges or things like that, we're just going to remove them. So if we grab some copycat slabs and put those in, it does occur to me I didn't actually need to remove that bit there. Put a gap in there so we can get power to it. So I've had to make a few adjustments around this side just so I can get the power in and keep it hidden. And in fact, with the one on this side, I'm actually just going to raise it up a block and put it in front of that. And then we'll send the power up on the side here. And then we'll just put loads of boxes and stuff around there to hide that, I think. In fact, I might do the same with this side. Not sure I like the look of the sunken floor there. Now to sort out the rest of the course. First up, I'm thinking maybe let's move the hole over one space this way, which doesn't affect the line of that box for the hole-in-one. Good, good. Then we'll stick a nice big shipping crate in here. I think we're going to move this back a bit as well. Then on this side, let's just have a big pile of cardboard. And I think it's time to introduce D.A.V.E, our very first moving hazard. So what we're going to need is a corridor for him to arrive from. and a corridor to disappear into, which, oof, it's a bit tight round here. Tell you what, let's make this container a little bit shorter, and we'll have that as Dave's exit corridor. Probably going to want a couple more hazards here just to make things awkward for whoever chose this route. Right, so Dave here, he's very simple. You just do that, give him some eyes, a couple of wheels on each side, and of course, a mouth, which is a sweeper. And little Dave here, he's going to drive around, and obviously if your box gets caught in front of him, he's going to eat it. So yeah, you got to watch out for Dave, which does of course stand for Destructive Automated Vehicle Entity, Dave. And what we're going to do is stick him on a minecart and just have him going backwards and forwards down this corridor, which means I need to expand these walls. I need to do the fog effect again. I'm going to need a minecart contraption and some rail, and of course a bit of super glue. I'm also going to need a way to empty him, so I'm probably going to put a storage interface underneath somewhere and then just have that dispose of into fire. But yeah, beware of Dave. In fact, maybe we should give a warning at the start here. There we go, just a little friendly warning. Right, let's get Dave on the move. So first up, let's just grab our little contraption. We'll stick him in there instead. Then we're going to stick a portable storage interface there, a second one over here. In fact, we're going to move it over a little bit because it'll only work when it's actually a contraption. Then if we do that, some netherrack, set that on fire, then that should empty the barrel of anything it picks up. This side, we'll just do this. We're going to have a timer set to go off every, say, 20 seconds. In fact, let's make that 15. We're going to extend that pulse just to make sure it definitely works. And then we're going to do the same thing over here, but we want this one going off much more regularly. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's just put them both on permanently and then it will just bounce between the two, right? So let's just make a bunch of levers for these and see if this is actually connecting or not. It's not. I should probably put it on the other side. There you go, that one connected that time. So let's just move the fire pit over here and we should be done with that bit. Okay, he looks quite cool. I like that. Now, we don't have a lot of space for the corridors on this one, so we're going to have to do things slightly differently. Differently to how we did in the fan tunnel, that is, where we made the nice big fog effect. So let's start by putting some glass at the front here, glass further back. So I guess we're going to get a small fog effect, but not much of one, because I'm going to need to block it off with this. So how does that look? Okay, yeah, not too bad. Not as bad as I thought it was going to, but I think I do want to make the doorway just a block taller. Yeah, that's better. Looks like a full-size corridor now. So let's just do the same over on this side. All right, that is Dave in place. He's doing his rounds, and he's just picked up a few blocks. Will he drop them off? Looks like it. Okay, so now we just need to cover the floor with ice, add some finer details, and work out how we're going to get to the next hole. And I think for that, I've got a bit of an idea. And I'm wondering if maybe we can just have a broken bit of wall here that kind of then joins into another one of those creepy corridors we had up the top. Then we have like a little hole that sort of goes round in a dog leg to make use of the space. So we can have it come around this way. And then that gets us over here with lots of space for a brand new hole. That sounds like a plan. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's get this one finished first. We've got some weird bits here to be working with from the other side. But besides that, the walls and ceiling are looking pretty bland. And we haven't even put the ice or the lights on the course yet. So let's get that done. About 45 minutes later, and we're definitely looking much more complete in here. I think this hole is pretty much done. So we've got the ball delivery system in, we've got some details, we've got cracks in the walls and some holes as well, once again, so we can see more pipes. I've sorted out the starter area as well. And then over the other side, the floor is done. We've got a few more boxy barrier type things going on. The last thing I need to do is just connect up the hole, and then we'll be ready to go through here onto hole 7. So we'll just do the same thing that we've done on every other hole so far. So we'll make sure the box breaks, creates cobble, sends it to the smart observer, and then rings a bell. And anything we chuck in here, as long as it's cobble, we're going to get the bell sound. Excellent. So that is hole 6 completely done, which means we're officially a third of the way there on completing the course. This is taking quite a while, but it's definitely worth it. And I do just want to take a moment to say thank you for all the epic ideas on this. In fact, Dave came from a Discord discussion with a few community members, and it's really made a difference to this hole. And we've still got another 12 holes to do. So keep your ideas coming in the comments and over in Discord, and we'll try and integrate as much as we can. And I've also had people asking about schematics. They will, of course, be available once the golf course is complete. I'll release a schematic of the entire thing. But that's probably going to be a few episodes away yet, because sadly, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now. Love you, Dave.